Known as the land of maple leaves in Canada, you'll find Amish communities where women must wear bonnets, cannot cut their hair, are forbidden from using buttons or jewelry, and live entirely cut off from the modern world. Here it is known for its hospitality that takes on a whole new meaning. You can visit an Inuit family and be invited to have fun with the host's wife all night long, which you cannot refuse. Ever heard of paying taxes with seal paws? In the far reaches of Newfoundland and Labrador, that's not a myth but a quirky reality. Don't miss this video because we promise everything in it will surprise you. Let's get started. Welcome to the land of maple leaves, the second largest country on Earth. Stretching from the icy Arctic Circle to the vibrant cities along its southern border, Canada is massive. In fact, it's so vast that if you wanted to drive from Vancouver on the west coast to St. John's on the east coast, you would spend almost a week on the road if you drove non-stop. Yet, despite its immense size, Canada's population is relatively small. Canada covers approximately 10 million square kilometers, large enough to fit several South American countries like Brazil and Mexico combined. This reality makes Canada the second largest country on the planet, right after Russia. Despite its enormous size, its estimated population is only about 38 million, giving it one of the lowest population densities in the world. But the landscapes? Whether you're hiking through the rugged Rocky Mountains or paddling across a crystal-clear lake in one of Canada's countless national parks, the country's natural beauty feels endless. In fact, Canada holds about 20% of the world's freshwater reserves, with more lakes than any other country on Earth. In the remote, icy expanse of northern Canada, you'll find the Inuit people, one of the most fascinating and resilient cultures in the world. Shaped by their harsh environment, they are deeply connected to both nature and spirituality. One of the most fascinating aspects of Inuit culture is their approach to hospitality, a concept that takes on a whole new meaning in the Arctic. When a guest is welcomed into an Inuit community, the experience goes beyond a warm meal or a bed to sleep in. In some cases, the host may even offer a fun night with his wife as a gesture of hospitality. This can come as a shock to those who are not expecting it, especially if they are coming as a couple. It can be difficult to refuse this kind of hospitality, as refusing such a gesture can sometimes be interpreted as a sign of disrespect. In Inuit culture, while a husband may extend an offer, it's typically the woman who has the final say. This act is not just a transaction but a privilege, meant to honor and welcome a guest into the community. This hospitality is closely linked to their spirituality. The Inuit not only show openness to new guests but also perform rituals of exchanging lovers, always for religious purposes and with the knowledge of their shaman, known as the Angakkuq. In Inuit culture, the Angakkuq is an important spiritual figure who acts as an intermediary between the human world and the spirit world. Imagine spending the night having fun with your host's wife. Would you like to experience Inuit hospitality? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's switch gears and dive into the intriguing world of the Amish, a community that feels like a time capsule, living apart from the fast-paced, modern world. The Amish are immediately recognizable, especially the women, due to their distinctive clothing and strict adherence to a life governed by tradition and religious conviction. They stand out because their clothing is not just a fashion statement, but a deep reflection of their values of modesty and humility. A world where appearance is not about making a statement, but about blending in with the community and showing devotion to your faith. Amish women typically wear long, simple dresses, often in darker shades like navy, black or brown, with no patterns or adornments. They must keep their arms covered, symbolizing modesty, and their long hair, never cut, remains hidden beneath a bonnet or cap. This head covering represents their submission to both religious authority and their family structure, a key pillar of Amish life. There's more to their clothing restrictions that you might find surprising. For example, buttons are often avoided by the Amish. Instead of using buttons, which are associated with militarism and modernity, they opt for hooks and eyes to fasten their garments. But it's not just about the clothing. From birth, they're expected to follow a path of obedience, first to their fathers, and later to their husbands once they're married. Their daily lives revolve around maintaining the household, raising children, and supporting their families. The Amish interpret their faith very conservatively, believing that these gender roles are part of God's plan for them. The decision to live separately from the modern world, avoiding technology like electricity, cars, and even telephones, is all rooted in their belief that the outside world is filled with temptations that could lead them away from God. For Amish women, The simple clothing they wear, void of any jewelry or makeup, is not only a form of modesty but also a conscious effort to avoid vanity. So what do you think? Could you live among the Amish, where technology is cast aside and life revolves around faith and family? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Canada, a country known for its politeness, also hides some fascinating and quirky laws that might leave you scratching your head. One of the strangest tax laws comes from Newfoundland and Labrador, a province known for its rugged coastline, wild terrain, and deep connection to Arctic traditions. In the past, if you lived here, you didn't always pay your taxes with money. Believe it or not, seal paws were once an accepted form of tax payment. This unique tradition originated from the region's historical dependence on seals for survival. Seal products were vital to the local economy. The seal harvest remains a part of life for many people living in Newfoundland and Labrador, especially in coastal and Indigenous communities. While you won't see anyone paying their taxes in seal paws anymore, this quirky bit of history lives on in local culture. In addition to its quirky tax laws, Canada has some unique regulations tied to its snowy regions, like dog sledding. For centuries, sled dogs were essential for transportation and gathering in the frozen landscapes, and even today, this tradition is deeply rooted in areas like Yukon and Nunavut. Sled dogs come in various breeds, with Siberian Huskies being one of the most common. These Huskies share physical traits with wolves since they both descended from common ancestors. Their teamwork and loyalty make them valuable companions for sledding, as they can cover long distances over challenging terrain. Laws in these regions ensure sled dogs are treated with respect, recognizing them as vital partners in the harsh Arctic environment. These regulations cover everything from the number of dogs required for a sled to their care and maintenance. So what about the cost of travel and living in Canada? But before we get started, I have a 10-second request for all of you. If you can help us out, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be the first to get our new videos and exciting content. This would mean a lot to us. In return, we promise to keep making this show even better for you. Do we have a deal? First things first, traveling to Canada is relatively straightforward, especially if you're traveling from the US or Europe. Major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and Calgary are easy to reach, with plenty of direct flights from the US at competitive prices, offered by both major and budget airlines. For coffee lovers, there's no need to worry. A cup of coffee in Canada generally costs between $2 and $3 US, comparable to prices in cities like New York or Los Angeles. Dining out offers plenty of variety, from upscale restaurants to more affordable options. A mid-range meal will cost around $15 to $30 per person, with international cuisine widely available in cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. If you're on a tighter budget, street food and fast casual dining can provide meals for under $10. Accommodation prices vary depending on location. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, mid-range hotels range from $100 to $150 per night. Smaller towns and more remote areas tend to offer cheaper options, especially if you're fine with basic amenities. For a more adventurous and budget-friendly experience, camping in national parks is a great way to enjoy Canada's stunning natural beauty. Nature is Canada's biggest draw, and it's free. Whether you're hiking in the Rockies, kayaking on crystal-clear lakes, or exploring the wide-open prairies, you can enjoy these natural wonders at little to no cost. Many national parks have low entrance fees, so you can experience breathtaking landscapes without spending much. In major cities, public transportation is affordable and dependable, with daily or weekly passes available in places like Toronto and Montreal. For longer trips across the country, consider Via Rail, Canada's national train service. Although it's not the fastest option, the scenic routes make for a memorable journey. Canada also offers plenty of free or low-cost cultural attractions, including museums and public events, particularly in the summer. Montreal, for example, hosts numerous free festivals and street performances during the warmer months, allowing you to experience the local culture without breaking the bank. When you imagine the far northern regions of Canada, where the snow never melts and icy winds sweep across the tundra, the Indigenous peoples who have called this frozen landscape home for centuries come to mind. Historically referred to as Eskimos, a term derived from the Algonquin word meaning meat connoisseur. This label is now considered outdated. Today, the Indigenous people of these regions, particularly in Canada and Greenland, are known by their proper name Inuit, which means the people or real people in their language, Inuktitut. This name reflects their strong identity and connection to the land, sea, and ice. The Inuit are a fascinating indigenous group, having thrived in the Arctic's harsh environment for thousands of years. Their survival depends on an intimate understanding of their surroundings, where gathering seals, whales, and caribou isn't just tradition, it's essential. The Inuit have developed remarkable skills from building igloos to mastering ice fishing, creating a culture deeply intertwined with nature. Inuit women play vital roles in family life and the community. They prepare animal skins for clothing, cook, and raise children. More than just household duties, they contribute to hunting by preparing tools and equipment and possessing essential knowledge about the land and animals. Their traditional clothing, such as the Emotia parka with a baby pouch, shows both practicality and resourcefulness, highlighting their deep connection to nature. While the Inuit still maintain much of their traditional way of life, they face challenges from modernity and climate change, which disrupt their gathering practices. Living in a place where temperatures drop far below freezing and snow covers the ground most of the year. For the Inuit, this is home. Over generations, they've formed a deep connection with the land, believing that all living things are interconnected. Gather and fishing are at the core of Inuit life. But it's more than just survival. It's a way to honor their culture, passed down through generations. Picture a family setting out on the ice, gather caribou, seals, and polar bears. It's a dangerous but vital part of life in the Arctic. These gather provide food, skins, and other materials needed to survive the harsh climate. Every piece of the animal is used, nothing is wasted. This resourcefulness shows the respect they have for the animals, recognizing their importance in maintaining the balance of life. Now, let's talk about the sled dogs, an iconic part of Canada's heritage. During the gold rush in the late 1800s, sled dogs weren't just pets, they were lifelines. They carried supplies across some of the most remote and treacherous areas, helping early settlers survive and thrive. These dogs are incredibly tough, bred to withstand the freezing temperatures and pull heavy loads for miles. Today, they remain a symbol of resilience, much like the Inuit people themselves. Climate change threatens their way of life, as melting ice and warmer winters disrupt traditional gathering grounds. Yet the Inuit continue to adapt, finding new ways to preserve their traditions while embracing modern advancements. Their ability to endure and thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth is a testament to their strength and ingenuity. Now, let's talk about the Amish, one of the fastest growing societies in Canada today, known for their extraordinary beliefs and customs. Their roots trace back to Europe in the 15th century, where they formed as a religious group yearning for a simpler, faith-driven lifestyle, distancing themselves from mainstream religious practices. Their way of life is shaped by a strict set of guidelines called the Ordnung, which is drawn primarily from the Bible, especially the New Testament, encouraging them to separate from secular influences. One of the most striking characteristics of the Amish is their commitment to non-violence. Instead of relying on outside legal systems, they resolve disputes within their own community tribunals, a unique feature that sets them apart from the modern world. The Amish began settling in North America, including Canada, seeking a place that would respect and support their values. Today, Canada, particularly Ontario, is home to a growing Amish population that stands out for its dedication to living without modern technology. In Ontario alone, the Amish population has grown significantly in recent years. With nearly 40,000 members in Canada, the community is increasing at a rapid pace due to their high birth rates, which is approximately 7 per family on average. By comparison, the average Canadian family has less than 2 children. This growth makes the Amish one of the fastest growing communities in Canada. Their lifestyle forbids the use of electricity, social media, or even the internet. The Amish are known for their traditional farming methods and self-sufficiency, which allow them to remain largely independent of the modern economy. Yet, despite their restrictive lifestyle, Amish youth experience a period known as Rumspringa, typically between 16 and 20 years old, where they are free to explore the modern world. This brief taste of modern life, complete with technology, socializing with non-Amish peers, and other worldly experiences, offers them a chance to decide if they will return to the Amish way of life. Astonishingly, over 90% of Amish youth choose to return, fully committing to their faith and community. However, leaving the Amish community is not without consequences. Those who leave often cut all ties with family and friends, and the decision to return to the community, if desired, is at the discretion of the Amish elders. Breaking the Amish code, especially when it comes to moral purity before marriage, can result in permanent expulsion from the community, making their rules on modesty and behavior particularly strict. One unique Amish tradition in courtship is known as bundling. In this practice, young couples spend the night together while fully clothed and often separated by a physical barrier, like a blanket or pillow. This allows them to bond emotionally without breaking the strict rules of modesty. Interestingly, facial hair plays a symbolic role in the lives of Amish men. A clean-shaven face signals that a man is single, while growing a beard is reserved for men who have been baptized and married. The act of growing a beard is seen as an important spiritual milestone in the life of an Amish man. A place where polar bears roam free, and you can get up close to these majestic creatures like nowhere else on Earth. Welcome to Churchill, Manitoba, the polar bear capital of the world. This small town in Canada draws visitors from every corner of the globe during the fall, when the polar bears come ashore from Hudson Bay. Canada is home to more than 15,000 of the world's 25,000 polar bears, making it the best place in the world to witness these incredible animals in their natural environment. And it's not just polar bears. Canada also boasts thriving populations of black bears, grizzlies, and other fascinating wildlife, giving adventure seekers a true taste of the wild. But Canada's natural wonders don't stop there. Over on the Bay of Fundy, you'll find something truly spectacular: the highest tides on the planet. These mighty tides rise and fall by over 50 feet, leaving visitors speechless at the sheer power of nature. To put it in perspective, that's as tall as a 5-story building. Now, here's a fun fact that might blow your mind. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined. With around 3 million lakes scattered across its vast land, Canada holds 20% of the world's fresh water. That's right, 20%. One of the most famous lakes, Great Bear Lake, is not only among the largest but also one of the deepest in the world, a true testament to Canada's natural beauty and wealth. And how about this for size? Canada also has the longest coastline in the world, stretching over 200,000 kilometers. That's the equivalent of walking non-stop for 4 years. Speaking of landscapes, did you know that Canada is also home to the smallest desert in the world? The Carcross Desert, located in the Yukon, covers just 1 square mile, but it adds yet another unique feature to Canada's rich geography. What makes Canada even more fascinating is that 90% of its land is uninhabited. This means endless untouched wilderness and pristine beauty, making it a dream destination for nature lovers and thrill seekers alike. Next, beneath that icy exterior lies something even more extreme: permafrost, a layer of frozen ground that never fully thaws, even in the summer. On solid ground, only to realize that a few feet below, the earth is permanently frozen. That's permafrost. It's like nature hit the pause button on the soil beneath your feet. In many parts of the world, the ground changes with the seasons, freezing in winter, thawing in summer. But in these remote northern regions of Canada, the ground stays frozen year-round, often several meters deep. This frozen layer affects everything from building infrastructure to travel, and it even has a deep cultural impact on how residents navigate life's more intimate moments like burial practices. Due to the permafrost, digging graves during the winter months is impossible. The frozen ground is like concrete; it's simply too hard to break through. As a result, an unusual custom has developed. In Arctic and subarctic regions, people have had to find creative ways to deal with death during the long, frigid winters. In these isolated communities, when someone passes away in the depths of winter, it can't happen until the ground thaws. Residents storing of their loved ones in garages or basements for months, waiting for the arrival of summer. Building homes and roads on top of this frozen ground requires special techniques to prevent the structures from shifting or sinking as the ice beneath them melts and refreezes. But it's also part of what makes these regions so fascinating. The way people have adapted to the unforgiving Arctic climate is a testament to human ingenuity. As you can see, Canada is a country that stands out for its breathtaking wilderness, and there's no place quite like it in the world. One reason for this is that Canada ranks as the 3rd cleanest air quality country globally, just behind Estonia and Mauritius. That's right. A big reason for this fresh air is that about 31% of Canada's vast land is covered by lush forests, which makes up over 10% of the world's total forests. Can you imagine that? It's an enormous space, almost as huge as Canada's international border with the United States. This border is the longest in the world, stretching an incredible 8,891 kilometers. But the records don't stop there. If you're in Toronto, check out Yonge Street, which holds the title of the longest street on the planet. It spans an unbelievable 56 kilometers. That's longer than some of the world's most fascinating runways, including one built specifically for UFOs. Yep, you heard that right, in the small town of St. Paul, Alberta. They constructed a runway back in 1967 meant for UFO landings. It's the first of its kind in the world, and there's even a UFO museum in town. Who knows if any extraterrestrial visitors have ever touched down there, but it's still a pretty cool spot to check out. And speaking of flying, getting to Canada is easier than you might think. Canada ranks third in the world for the number of airports, with over 1,467 airports across the country, just behind the United States and Brazil. So if you're planning a trip, it's as simple as booking your flight, ensuring your passport is up to date, and checking if you need a tourist visa or an electronic travel authorization, depending on where you're from. Now, speaking of cold, Canada is home to some of the coldest places on Earth. Winters, especially in the northern regions, can be brutally long and freezing. We're talking about temperatures that regularly plunge below 30 degrees Celsius, that's below 22 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, Canada has regions where the ice is so thick it never melts. And here's an astonishing fact: in some northern communities, when someone passes away in the heart of winter, they can't even dig a grave. The ground is too frozen. The entire northern hemisphere of Canada essentially turns into a frozen wonderland during winter. Temperatures can plummet to more than 40 degrees Celsius below zero, that's even colder than 40 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. Imagine living in that. But don't worry, it's not all ice and snow. If you're thinking of visiting Canada, summer has its own magic. In southern provinces like Ontario and British Columbia, summer temperatures can climb above 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit, giving you a break from the chills of the north. And let's not forget the natural beauty Canada offers in all seasons. With more than 37 national parks and countless nature reserves, Canada protects over 300,000 square kilometers of its natural landscape. That's an area larger than the entire state of New Mexico. These parks not only preserve Canada's unique biodiversity, but also provide a sanctuary for wildlife, like grizzly bears, wolves, and caribou, as well as more than 600 different bird species. If you're into hiking, camping, or even just soaking in nature's beauty, Canada's parks are a must-see. You can explore the rugged mountains in Banff National Park or witness the stunning northern lights in the Yukon. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you want to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us on this great journey. Leave your thoughts in the comments and like to help us. Remember to subscribe for more. See you soon.